The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Do you believe in magic? In a young girl's heart, how the music can free her whenever it starts, and it's magic. If the music is groovy and makes you feel happy like an old-time movie, I'll tell you about the magic and it'll free your soul. But it's like trying to tell a stranger about a rock and roll. If you believe in magic, don't bother to choose if it's jug and music or rhythm and blues. Just go and listen. It'll start with a smile that won't wipe off your face, no matter how hard you try. Your feet start tapping and you can't seem to find how you got there. So just blow your mind.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. Yep, we're still coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. This hour, my friends, we're going to be talking about a new book entitled Defense Against the Dark, a field guide to protecting yourself from predatory spirits, energy vampires, and malevolent magic. Joining me this hour is Emily Carlin, who is the author, and she's been a magical practitioner for more than a decade. She is the Grey School of Wizardry's Dean of Dark Arts, specializing in defensive magic and creatures of the night, teaching magical protection to people of all ages and skill levels. Now, Emily also holds a BA in philosophy from the Wellesley College and a JD from Seattle University School of Law, and is a member of the Washington State Bar. Now, Emily is also a lifelong resident of Seattle, Washington. Her website is www.e-carlin.com or www.e-carlin.com. And Emily, or should I call you Dean, or should I call you Solicitor, or should I call you just Emily? Welcome to the X-Zone.
Emily is just fine. It's great to be here.
Where did your fascination with magic come from, Emily?
Well, I've seen ghosts and spirits pretty much for as long as I can remember, and they scared the crap out of me. Mm-hmm. And when something scares the crap out of you, you can either ignore it till it goes away or learn how to deal with it. And I chose the latter rather than the former. So, been interested in it pretty much always.
What was your inspiration for writing Defense Against the Dark?
You know, when I first started practicing magic, I had a lot of strange things happen to me, and there were no books at the time that told you how to figure out what was going on and what to do about it. So I figured I would write that book for young me, and I think I have.
Tell me, is there such a thing as evil spirits and those nasty and scary things that people believe go bump in the night?
Yes and no. Yes,
okay.
Those things exist. No, they are not anywhere near as common as most people think. And those things exist insofar as all of the things that we attribute to them happen. Things fall off shelves, people get punched and scratched. All of the symptoms of evil spirits happen to people. Is what is causing those things necessarily a sentient being? Is it manifestations of a person's own negativity? Is it latent telekinesis? I don't know. But the symptoms happen, and there's things you can do about them.
How does... We've got about a minute before I have to take my first break here. How do people differentiate between a malevolent spirit and mind over matter?
That is an excellent question, and I think for most people I know that are able to make the distinction, it comes down to a sort of gut knowing, where if it's mind over matter, you can kind of feel it, as opposed to something outside of yourself that is doing it to you. But that takes practice.
All right, you and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back. Exo Nation, our very special guest this hour, all the way from Seattle, Washington, the home of Fraser Crane. I get a kick out of that. Is Emily Carlin. She's the author of Defense Against the Dark, a field guide to protecting yourself from predatory spirits, energy vampires, and malevolent magic. www.e-carlin.com. And for our Canadian listeners, www.e-carlin.com. My name's Rob McConnell. I'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue talking about Defense Against the Dark with our special guest this hour, Emily Carlin. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. Emily Carlin is our special guest. We're talking about Emily's new book. It's entitled Defense Against the Dark. And you're a lawyer. You're the dean of wizards, I believe, wizardry.
Dark arts, yes.
Now tell me, how do the other members of the judicial system deal with you, since you're a wizard? And during the commercial break, we found that you're also into witchcraft. It must be a little scary for them. Your Honor, I object. Poof. And then somebody turns into a frog. but in all seriousness, do you find that your association with the paranormal works against you sometimes in the court system?
Well, I'm actually a very new attorney, and I'm not actually a litigator.
Oh, I see. All right.
So I haven't run into that particular issue, but it's not something that I talk about at work.
Okay.
So,
well, we won't tell anybody.
I try to avoid that. If it comes up, I will always answer a direct question, but I don't choose to bring it up all that often.
So I can take it you don't dress in black, you don't wear a pointed hat, and you don't carry a broom with you?
Well, not to work.
Oh, okay.
Only on my spare time.
Okay, I better be good on this interview, or else I'm going to suffer like I did with that lady that we accidentally played Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. Yeah. When did you first start practicing magic, and what was the very first thing you did?
Well, I started practicing magic actively when I got to college, sort of out of respect for my parents' beliefs, sort of against that. I waited till I was out of their house. When I got to college, I went to a Samhain ritual, which is our Halloween.
Yes.
And that was the first time I had ever participated in a magical ritual, and it sort of changed everything. So,
where does the power of the magic come from? Does it come from within, or is it pulled in from the universe, and then the body and the spell is used as a catalyst of the power?
Yes, both. A certain amount. The juice comes from outside for the most part, unless you're doing it wrong. But the control and the focus that makes it work comes from you. So it's definitely both.
What's the difference between white magic and dark magic?
You're asking the right person. Very, very little.
Really?
Very, very little.
You see, to me, I would think that white magic is good magic. Black magic is bad magic.
Well, as a dark magic practitioner, no, it is not. The difference is in your intent and where the power comes from. You know, people use the term black magic to mean, you know, evil intent. That isn't really accurate. Everybody uses those words in totally different ways, and when I say something is dark magic or dark art, it generally means that it's about, like in the Grey School, dark arts is a combination of sorcery, creatures of the night, and defensive magic. And it's really more about going to the places that are a little bit scarier and being able to deal with it. It's not about doing bad things. It's actually about stopping bad things from happening most of the time.
So why is it that black magic has gotten such a bum rap?
Because it sounds all spooky.
Oh.
And so people that want to be all spooky say that they do black magic because it's all crazy. And it's not. Most of the people that practice quote-unquote black magic are Christians that are rebelling against the church and are not actually pagan or witches, because you can't do that if you're a witch. You can't. The devil doesn't exist in our belief system, so you can't call upon him or his servants because they don't exist.
You know,
there are bad things out there that you could call on that do exist.
Such as?
There are people that are very stupid that would try to conjure up a demon, and then it would probably hurt them very badly because they think it's all cool and spooky and is something that will make them seem all mysterious, and it generally ends very badly for them.
As a member of the Wizards Association, for lack of better words, as well as being a witch, and by the way, you sound like a very nice witch.
Well, thank you. I try.
Well, you're succeeding. You've got me scared. Yes, indeedy. Ouija boards, do they really open up a porthole? Do people really invite danger when they use a Ouija board, or once again, is this just a misrepresentation and the exaggeration of facts?
Well, that is actually one of those very few places where the superstition meets reality. Things like Ouija boards can, in fact, open portals. If you know what you're doing, you can open it in a particular way that only lets good things in, and then you can close it when you're done. But if you just open it and invite anybody through, it's kind of like setting up a cart on the street corner, saying, if you're a good person, take one, like a cookie or something.
Yes.
And then being really shocked when somebody steals all your cookies.
Interesting.
That's kind of what Ouija boards do if you don't know what you're doing. They used to be called just talking boards back in the turn of the 20th century. It was very, very popular with the spiritualism movement. And they worked very, very well. But if you're just casually playing with them, asking anything to give you a message, don't be surprised if something hangs out that you didn't want.
So I guess the word to the wise would be leave well enough alone.
If you don't have someone to help you figure out how to do it right, yeah, that's probably true.
Okay, let's talk about your book, Defense Against the Dark. What do people have to defend themselves against in the dark?
Well, for most people, it's negative energy. It's the person driving next to you that's had a really bad day and just spilled his coffee. It's the coworker who's just had the printer jam on them for the 37th time that day. It's your own stress. Because negative energy, however you choose to look at it, makes your life more difficult. Anyone who has had a really bad day at work, come home, and then yelled at a relative, knows that they didn't want to yell at this other person. It wasn't that other person's fault, but they had all this negative energy, and it had to go somewhere. So for most people, that's what they have to work with. They have to learn how to shield themselves against negative energy coming from the outside. They have to learn how to ground out negative energy coming from the inside. Because when you've got negative energy, it attracts more negative energy. One of the base principles of magic is the principle of like attracts like. Good things attract good things, bad things attract bad things. If you are surrounded and steeped in negative energy, negative entities will come to check you out. Then you have a much bigger problem. That's why you need defense against the dark.
What kind of entities?
Well, like some of the entities that I list in my book that are relatively common are things like imps, fairies, goblins, ghosts, very small sort of manifestations of negative energy that will basically create this spiral of negative where if you have negative energy and one of these creatures comes to you, that negative energy is going to multiply and your life is going to become very unpleasant. So you have to, if you can't clean it up before it attracts one of these things, you've got to learn to deal with them.
How do we know if we have one of these little negative entities attached to us?
Well, for most people, it will manifest like you'll get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, the feeling of being watched, prickling in the palms of your hands or the base of your spine. And it's definitely that feeling of not being alone and sort of like the air gets heavy and you get this feeling of sort of being oppressed. That's a really good indication that something's not quite right.
Yeah. Now, what about, is there a difference between a negative entity and a demon?
Well, a demon is a negative entity, but it's just one of several kinds of negative entities. There's lots of stuff out there in the universe. Most of it is totally neutral. Some of it's very, very good. Some of it is very, very bad, just like people. Most people are just kind of good on some days and bad on others. So are most entities. But really negative entities are out there, and in my book there is a creature called an infernal, which is what most people would think of as a demon, sort of the ultimate manifestation of evil. And they are very, very bad, and they do very bad things.
Okay, you and I have to take a commercial break. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about what kind of very bad things that these negative entities can do to people, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there listening tonight who are saying, oh, come on, negative entities? I don't buy it. But you and I are going to talk more about this on the other side of the break. Please stand by. Exonation, Emily Carlin is our special guest. She is the author of Defense Against the Dark, a field guide to protecting yourself from predatory spirits, energy vampires, and malevolent. Yeah, I'm having a great time today. Magic. Her website is www.e-carlin.com. And by the way, Emily's doing this to me because I told her about the witch music we used once before. But I would never do that again. I'm not that kind of guy. Am I? Nah. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue Exonation from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Rich at last is dead.
You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Exonation, Emily Carlin is my special guest. She's the author of Defense Against the Dark. Her website is www.e-carlin.com, www.e-carlin.com. Emily, where do these negative entities come from?
Fascinating question. There are many, many theories about that. Do I know which one is correct? No. Some common theories, there's the Jungian idea where it's all a manifestation of kind of human negativity that coalesces into kind of big floating balls of sentient negativity. Some are believed to come from alternate dimensions. Lots of religions think they're, spawn of Satan kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really depends on who you are and what you believe.
What do you believe?
I definitely believe that some of them are manifestations of negative energy, that people put off, and I also believe that some of them are from sort of alternate planes of existence that sort of leak through into ours.
Have you ever seen one of these negative entities? And if you had, how did you deal with it?
Yes, lots and lots and lots of times. Like I said, I've been able to see ghosts my entire life, most of which are completely benign, several of which are not so nice. I've seen fairies, I've seen imps, I've seen demons, unfortunately. Psychic vampires are very common. And, defensive magic is what I do, so I shield, I ground, and they don't bother me much.
All right, but for people who are not as well versed in the black arts or the paranormal as you are, how do we deal with these negative entities that attach to us? How do we get rid of them?
Well, it really depends on who you are and what you do. For most people, ignoring it will make it kind of go away. And like I said, negative entities are attracted to negative energies. So if you can surround yourself with positive energies, if you have a bad day, get a back rub, get a latte, get something that makes you happy so the negative energy goes away. And these things won't be attracted to you. If one does attach it to yourself and wasn't prevented in time, that's when you have to move on to either magic, in forms of grounding and shielding, the sort of things that I talk about in my book, Or if you're part of a particular religious tradition, you go to a religious authority who will bless you. It really depends on kind of what you're comfortable with.
Do the negative entities, the nymphs, the fairies, the gnomes, do they fear the deities within a religious philosophy? And if so, why?
I think it really depends. There's definitely a lot of lore about fairies and things being repelled by crosses and things like that. So that lore comes from a time when pretty much everybody was Christian, and the priests were the ones that started these bits of lore. So whether they're true or not, it's hard to say. In my experience, it's not so much the deity as it is the power of belief.
So the power lies within the person. So if the person is afraid and they rid their fear, they may get back control, and the negative entity has no more power?
Most of the time. For the kind of things people are actually likely to encounter, yes. For some of the really scary, big, nasty stuff, no. Those require more oomph than the average belief. But in probably 99% of the case, if you are a person of faith and you truly believe your deity will protect you, that will usually work.
What has been the most or the scariest situation that you've come across when it comes to negative entities?
I love this question. I've gotten this one several times. I had an encounter with an infernal, which is basically the biggest, baddest, scariest thing you're ever going to come across.
Describe it.
Well, think hellspawn, and you won't be far off. Big, black, roiling mass of negativity that could drain energy, try to oppress a friend of mine. Her personality began to shift. Her physical features began to shift. Her eye color began to shift over a course of several weeks. And it had to be bound and banished before she was able to sort of return to normal.
Now, is this what we would call a demonic possession or a spiritual possession?
Probably, yeah. It's as close as I've ever seen, at least.
Wow.
I've never seen anything on the lines of, like, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But I've seen someone oppressed by a negative entity and begin to change. So, yeah.
How did you get rid of this negative entity? How did you chain and shackle it and yank it out of your friend?
Well, there's a type of magic called binding and a type of magic called banishing. And in binding, you basically, there was a group of us. There was about 5 or 6 of us, and we all pooled our energy together. We called on every friendly spirit and deity we could think of, and kind of got them to help us to sort of wrap this entity in cords and stick it in a box and lock it, essentially, magically speaking. It actually took us several weeks to get ready for it, and we found herbs that are particularly have an affinity with banishing, with binding, stones, oils, that, and a lot of concentration and a lot of belief and a lot of sheer dumb luck, honestly. But we managed to do it, and we were able to lock it away. And then it wasn't until several years later, when we'd all gotten much, much better, that we were actually able to destroy it.
How do you destroy a negative entity that is basically energy?
You disperse the energy. It's not as easy as it sounds, but when you practice magic, you're basically, all magic is focus and moving energy. Whether you look at it as atomic psychokinesis or tapping into Jungian archetypes to make yourself feel more empowered, doesn't really matter. It's all down to moving energy. And when you've done it for a long enough time, you can grab onto energy and make it move pretty easily. And even something that concentrated can be moved. It's kind of like trying to disperse fog. it takes a lot of great big fans to do it, but it can be done.
How is your friend now? Does she have any recollection of what happened during her possession?
I haven't spoken to her in a few years, but she was completely unaware of it. She does not recall pretty much a whole month of her life is just a fog.
My heavens.
Yeah, it's pretty much the scariest thing I've ever heard of.
So tell me, why do you think, not only as a dean of wizards, but as a member of a very logical professional profession, why do you think that what you do on your off hours is looked at by the majority of society as the work of the devil, when in fact I've talked to many, many members of the Wiccan community and covens, and what I've learned over these many years doing the show is that what they do is actually very positive. So why the bum rap?
For most of it, it's just misinformation. For many, many years, witches were considered to be those that worship the devil. It's a matter of definition.
Or is it that you're the competition against established religious philosophies?
I think that probably has something to do with it, but I think, obviously there's portrayal in the media and that sort of thing, and don't get me started on ghost shows that bring witches on to open portals. I don't like them.
Why do people tell me not to do something which automatically makes me want to do it?
Well, the trick is you can do it. You just have to know what you're doing when you do.
Okay, let me ask you this. Halloween, does that tick you off?
I love Halloween. I think it's the best day of the year. It's the one day where I get to dress up like me and go out and no one looks at me funny. I love it. But I'm that kind of witch. There are plenty of people I know that think it's just horrendous. But I love it.
Okay, so
I like Christmas too.
Well, sure, who doesn't? I love Halloween too. I love Easter. I love Hanukkah. Hey, give me a holiday and I'm a happy kid.
Well, we have lots of them.
How many statutory holidays are there within the witchcraft Wiccan community?
Well, in Wicca, there are 8 standard Sabbats, which are like the big holidays, and then every full and new moon is an Esbat, which is more of a devotional thing. But yeah, 8 big holidays. And pretty much they're seasonal.
When you look at the comparison between Wicca or paganism and some of the established religions, you just called them Sabbats, and the seventh day is called the Sabbath in Christianity. And we know for a fact that Christianity took the 25th of December as the birth of Christ. In direct correlation with the 21st of December, which is
there's Yule. There's also the 25th was the birth of Mithras, the Persian sun god, who was a newborn son who then saved his people.
Yes, so
nothing in common there, of course.
Oh, of course. No, but if people were just to sit back and realize, and then just to go on a little offshoot here, the comparison between Greek mythology and Christianity. Now, Greek mythology and paganism and witchcraft and Wicca is a lot older than Christianity.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Modern witchcraft is based on old mythology that is older than Christianity,
right.
But modern witchcraft is actually something that was devised in the
50s.
Early 19th century.
Yeah.
It started like 1850, but yeah, pretty much the 1950s is when it became what it is today.
Right, but what I was trying to do was to say that a lot of the significance around Christian holidays.
The holidays, yes, are older.
Yeah, they're much older. So, like the Yule log and so on and so forth.
Like Easter.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's a holiday called Easter or Ostara that is basically Easter, and that's where the bunnies and the eggs come from.
Which came first, the bunny or the egg?
I'm going to go with Cadbury.
Oh, I love that. Curses, are they real or are they imaginary?
Yes. and no. Curses, okay. It is possible for someone to send negative energy at someone else.
The evil eye.
Is it like it is in the movies? No.
Oh.
Can someone curse themselves because they think they're cursed? Absolutely.
Well, once again,
you can
is
psych
this
yourself into being cursed?
So in that case, it would be mind over matter. You're doing it to yourself.
Yes. It's that whole, you start thinking about negative energy, and then more negative energy spirals in, and more negative energy, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And because you think you're cursed, you become cursed. And that is absolutely a mind over matter thing. But they're real curses where it's some other person sending something bad at you do exist. They're incredibly rare.
All right,
They're
Stan.
incredibly, incredibly rare. And they're very, very stupid. Because anytime you send energy at someone else, positive or negative, it creates a link between you and binds you together. So you don't curse someone unless you want to be bound with them for the length of the curse. Most people don't want that. It's not a good idea.
No, it's not. Stand by, Emily. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exo Nation, Emily Carlin is our special guest. www.e-carlin.com. That's www.e-carlin.com. She's the author of Defense Against the Dark. And we'll be back on the other side of this short commercial break as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'd like to thank the good people at New Age Books for helping us put this interview together. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Playing in the morning light. Ho, 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 it's magic, you know. Magic moments when two hearts are caring. Magic moments, memories we've been sharing. I'll never forget the moment we kissed the night of the hayride. The way that we hugged to try to keep warm while taking a sleigh ride. Magic moments, memories we've been sharing. Magic.
Exo Nation, Emily Carlin is our special guest. First of all, Emily, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a delight having you with us this hour. We've been talking a lot about, defense against the dark. Now, can anyone practice defense against the dark, or should it be left to people of a certain age?
There are, in my book I have the main sections, which is stuff that anyone could do of any age. And I also have a section at the back called, In Case of Emergency, Break Glass. That's the one that should be left to experienced people. But for the most part, even young children can be taught the basics of it. Young kids that have nightmares and have a nightlight.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a talisman of light against the dark. It's a nightlight, but it's magic just the same. The same way when your mom comes in and gives you a goodnight kiss, it makes the monster in the closet go away. It's still magic because you believe it. Anyone can learn this stuff.
I, as a child, I had to have a light on or I couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I grew older, I didn't need the light, but I had to have a radio on because if there was no sound, the quiet would keep me awake.
Mm-hmm.
Strange, huh?
Well, not really.
No.
At least not from my perspective. I mean, I am an insomniac. I have a huge, 5-minute protection ritual I do every night before I go to sleep, and have done every night before I go to sleep for the last probably 13 years. Now, I can't sleep without it.
Now, are children more susceptible to negative entities than adults? Or is it the other way around?
I wouldn't say children are more susceptible, but they're more likely to notice them.
Is that why is that why children have these imaginary friends that really aren't imaginary, but the children haven't been spoiled by society and browbeaten to say that they don't see them anymore?
I believe so, yes. In my experience, children are able to see things a lot more clearly than adults. Over time, they will generally convince themselves they were imagining it and make it go away. Sometimes they don't, and then they become people like me.
Well,
but yeah, I absolutely do believe that children can see more than adults can most of the time.
Well, I'll tell you something. I, for one, am very happy that you're there. I'm ecstatic that you wrote the book Defense Against the Dark, because a lot of people are afraid. And you know what you're doing? You're giving them the light that they can have and read and better understand what they're against and how to fight it. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Emily,
that was my goal.
Emily, quickly tell our listeners how they can get a copy of your book.
My book, I believe it comes out tomorrow, the 24th of February, from Amazon.com and major booksellers across the country. They can get a hold of me at my website and also the Gray School, where I teach. It's grayschool.com. Very easy. But yeah, you should be able to get it pretty much everywhere.
We'll have to have you back on.
Amazon right now has it cheap.
We'll have to have you back on to talk about wizardry in the near future. That's a fascinating topic.
That'd be my pleasure.
Emily, take care of yourself. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on our great work.
Well, thank you.
So long now. Exonation, Emily Carlin has been my guest this hour, www.e-carlin.com. The name of her book is Defense Against the Dark, and tomorrow it will be available at Amazon.com. Well, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break at 6.5 minutes past the hour after the news as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Don't go away.